Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. I thought I'd do a quick video here, some tips on basically little controls here and there, which just make my gaming experience in War Thunder a little bit easier so you don't have to worry about as many things. We'll probably do a few of these videos, but this one is focused on kind of like on and off switches, which are in the game, and some pretty simple ones, just to kind of get used to different things. So first of all, just the favorites tab. This is something which makes it easy to track stuff. The way that you can do this is you can go to achievements on your profile, and let's say if there's a holiday event, you can just hit to favorites and then add it to it. You can do this with all the different challenges and everything if you want to track stuff, and also during events you can do it too, so you can keep everything going. So that's, you know, a pretty simple one. At the same time, there is a ton of different options in the game, in the main parameters, which actually can help you out with just, well, seeing things or understanding what's going on, whether it's the damage indicator scale, so you can see how big that is. The camera shake I would actually put to 0 if you want a better experience, so you're not just like all over the place, especially when you are weaping an aircraft, because you really feel it then. And then of course you have the sense of flight, which is how your aircraft reacts to certain areas. You can also change the actual default grid site, but I think generally that's fine to keep on. One of the things that I want to talk about here is vertical targeting, and how it works. Usually it's better to actually turn this one on, just as an idea, and the reason for this is if you don't know how vertical targeting works, let's say you are 500 meters away from an enemy, or you have your gun targeting distance set at 500 meters. In this case I've set it at 400 meters. So with vertical targeting on, your guns will be angled at a point not just on the horizontal axis for that targeting distance of 400, but also the vertical. So therefore they'll be set up in a loop, so therefore when the gun hits at 400 you will actually be at that 0 degrees mark. So it is easier to shoot with this on. The reason I have it off is because I've just always had it off and I'm used to it by now, but for newer players it is a good idea to turn this on, because then your bullets will actually go where you are aiming and not just in the horizontal but also in the vertical setup. You obviously have all of these as well, which we'll go into later on, but one of the things that I do want to bring up is this, the autopilot for gunner and bomb site modes. So when you actually go into a gunner mode or go into a bomb site mode by using V on the keyboard while you're in a bomber, if you have this on, it will automatically make your bomber go like this and go in a straight level plane. You actually want to turn this off, because what this can do is if you're setting up for a bomb run and you're setting up at a specific angle, it will shoot you back to the kind of perpendicular to the ground, and therefore at like 0 degrees across. So this can actually cock up you bombing, and also when you're using gunners too. So it's actually better to use the keyboard to control your bomber while you're in these sites, which, you know, we've talked about aircraft controls before. I have a specific video on that, so just make sure to take that out. Oh, sorry, watch that so you can understand what I'm talking about. But that is something that you have to, you know, kind of think about, and I believe it's also on auto by default. You obviously should have a lot of these options to yes, because it just, you know, makes a lot of things easier so you don't have to activate stuff. And also, at the same time, in the naval battle settings, there's this thing called highlight projectiles 4-point. If you play arcade, this will actually tell you, if you have larger caliber guns, where your rounds are landing. It gives you a little green line which kind of follows the shell, and this is only in arcade, by the way, so it's not in realistic, and it shows you where the shells are going to land. This is very positive, because it means that it's easier for you to target, and then obviously you have the highlight target point as well, which can do that same thing. You also have the default target type for AI firing, so your secondaries, which are controlled by AI, you can actually turn them off if you want to before the battle starts. So this just changes what the setup is at the start of the battle, but the main one you should turn on is this one, so you just see where everything is landing. Battle interface as well. A lot of people ask me how to change colors when it comes to the user interface in-game. You do it right here. You can even change the safe area for the HUD, or even just how much of the HUD that you actually want. Generally, I would say for newer players, it's probably best to put the full one on, but for me, once again, I'm just used to default, and also turn these on too. So always have your fuel indication on, always have your ammo, and also temperature indication. You can put it on simulator battles difficulty only or auto. Don't bother, because on auto it will only tell you when you are close to the edge of things. So if you're running out of ammo, it'll tell you when you're close. With the fuel, when you're running out of fuel, it'll tell you when you're close. When you have it always on, you know how much you have left in the tank, how much you can go ahead with, and that's what you should focus on. You shouldn't focus on, you know, only when stuff is kind of going crazy at the end of the day. Always have all of these on as well, because basically it just shows you what's going on around you. As we've talked about many times, usually when it comes to War Thunder, the thing that's important is your eyes and looking at the different parts of the screen, not just for enemies, but also what's going on around you while looking on the map. All of these options give you that sense. And even in the other setup, so for example, in controls for aircraft, you have hold throttle for WEP. So a lot of people don't know about this. A lot of people, if they want to WEP, they hold down the throttle key. You don't have to. You could literally just set it to no for the hold throttle for WEP. So when you're at that higher, speed for WEP, you can just sit it there. And the way that you turn it off, you just either move your scroll wheel slightly down, or whatever your throttle axis is, you just click it and it will go from WEP to 100%, which is, as simple as that. So you can just WEP and then you can just sit there, right? And that's, all you want to do for that. So I think generally that's one of the things I see a lot of people talking about and having an issue with, where they don't know why they have to constantly, put their hands on the keyboards and everything like that. And you don't, is basically the way to put it, if you have this setting. The other one is the same for ground vehicles. If you've played a lot of maps, very much so over the years, you'll know where you want to go, you'll know where you want to move in, and what you can do is you can just set up cruise controls. So this will change from CC1, 2, and then max. CC1 is generally like a lower speed, lower obviously gear. 2 is in the middle, and max is just the most it can do. So that is something you can also set up. You can also technically do a manual transmission if you really feel like it, but I would say the cruise control stuff is just way worth it. The other thing is the short break. So this can actually mean if you hit this, instead of decreasing in speed, you can actually get to a stop quicker, so therefore your gun can stabilize faster. So this is actually one of the ways that people can use to be able to fire faster than you in a given engagement. Now, I don't use this anymore just because the way that I play the game, it's much more mobile, and also I much more just release the throttle to let it slow down gradually, so therefore the gun is gradually hitting the enemy, so fire on the move. But I know a lot of people who use this setting to be able to do that. So there's some, well, not really hidden controls, but must-have controls and how they work to the game. Now that War Thunder is so expansive and there's so much stuff in it, it's very important to use all this stuff for your advantage. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.